the scariest moment of my life, hands down, is when I had a gun put to my head. No joke. So I had moved to Austin in 2004, right after high school. And in 2004, that's when the big poker boom happened with Chris Moneymaker. It was all over television. Everybody was playing Texas Hold'em. It was huge. And so me and my buddies, we got into poker. I learned to play Texas Hold'em. Man, and I got so into it. Moved to Austin for college and was playing just in little home games with friends, you know, $30, $40 buy-in, stuff like that. Real low limit stuff, low stakes. And I was looking to play some bigger stakes. So I got on this website that somebody told me about called homepokergames.com. And I remember I found this game that sounded different from all the other games. It was like 1-2 no limit hold'em, minimum $100 buy-in, maximum $500 buy-in. And I was like, dang, what? So I called this number, and the guy that answered, he ended up being one of my best friends ever. And he answered, and I said, hey, I saw your poker game online on homepokergames.com. And he was immediately like, really like weirded out. He was real skeptical. He's like, who is this? What's your name? What do you do for a living? And I was like, I'm just a college student, you know, and I play poker. And he's like, what stakes do you usually play? Like, he was like vetting me, you know, because this was an underground, illegal poker game, which I didn't know at the time. So what makes these games illegal is that they take a rake. They take a percentage of each pot, which back then it was typical for them to take a 10% rake capped at $5. So if the pot was $20, they take $2. $50, they take $5. Anything over that, they cap it at $5 though. So $100, they still just take $5. But imagine, you know, each hand on average takes like 60 to 90 seconds on average. So, you know, they're making quite a bit of money, like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a night, these games. I actually ended up running an illegal poker game myself later on in West Campus in the UT area. That's a different story though. So anyway, so I found this game and I went to it, and I was introduced to the underground poker world, an illegal world where essentially how it worked was these guys, partners sometimes, they would rent out an apartment. They would buy really nice poker chips, nice tables, 2, 3, 4 tables sometimes. They had a dealer, a couple dealers that would switch in and out. They had a game girl, of course, that would go around and give you massages. They cooked you a meal, all the free food and snacks you wanted, sort of giving you that casino feel. And this was a racket, man. They made a lot of money doing this. And I found out later on that that's where the money was it wasn't playing at the game, it wasn't even dealing, because I used to deal as well, but it was hosting these games. Anyway, so near my apartment off of Far West Boulevard in Austin, there was this game called Danny's Game. And Danny was the host, and I played there religiously. I would buy in $200, and I was good, man. I mean, I read every book, every Skolansky book there was, David Skolansky, you know, of course, Doyle Brunson, Alan Shoemaker, The Psychology of Poker. Every book, I treated it like it was like my studies in college. Like, I mean, I treated it like this was what I was going to do. And I ended up, you know, playing throughout college. And anyway, so Danny's Game was huge, man. It was, I'd go there buying for 200, cash out with $1,000, 1,200, 2,000. So one night we're playing, and there's this guy familiar to everybody. His name's Marcus. He was also a regular, and they had cameras. These games were real typical for having cameras, and they would have, they're called barricade bars. And they were these bars that you stick up against the doorknob. That way if somebody tries to bust in, it's a lot harder for them to do so. So anytime somebody would come up and ring the doorbell, everyone at the game would see them on the camera, their face. So we're sitting there. I remember I had like $400 in front of me, really juicy game. Doorbell rings. We all look up. We're like, oh, it's Marcus. So Danny goes to the door. He opens the door, and these two black dudes were crouching down so we couldn't see them. We could only see Marcus. So Danny sees Marcus. He opens the door, and I'll never forget it. They pushed Marcus through, and he came stumbling, and we all looked over, and these two dudes, black dudes, had green surgical gloves on and silver, like these, I'll never forget the silver 9mm pistols they had, or maybe Glocks or something. And they were just extremely cool, collected, and quiet about it. And it felt surreal. Like it didn't feel like it was real. Like I was like, is this a joke? Like, what's happening? And they go, everybody get the fuck down. Everybody get the fuck on the ground right now. Everybody get on the ground. And I was like, oh, whoa, this is happening. And one of them goes, where's Danny at? And Danny was like, I'm right here. And he's like, take me to the safe. And so he knew Danny was the host. So he takes Danny to the safe. And the other guy is surveying the floor, making sure nobody's doing anything fishy. So we're all laying on the ground. I'll never forget there was this skinny white dude, long blonde hair, glasses, that I played with often. Real dorky kind of guy, but real cool. And I remember the guy that was surveying the floor while the other guy went to the safe with Danny. He was like, everybody get your wallet out. Everybody get your wallet out right now. But, you know, real quiet. That's about as loud as he was. So people start reaching in their pocket, and I was laying on the ground next to this skinny white kid. He reaches for his wallet, and this dude, boom, pistol whips him in the back of the head. And I remember seeing his head like bounce. And I looked up, and because I was like, what the heck? And he pointed the gun an inch from my head, and he goes, what the fuck are you looking at? Whoo! It gives me chills, because in that moment, if you've never had a gun put to your head, I'm telling you, in that moment, the only thing that went through my mind was, he pulls a trigger and that's it. Like, what if he accidentally pulls a trigger? What if there's a malfunction? Like, this is my life right here. This is it's just like this cold chill, you know, and it felt like it lasted forever, you know, that gun to my head. And then, it was 3 minutes tops. They get the money from the safe. He grabbed a couple of wallets from people. Boom, they were gone. And I remember everybody got up, and I was like shaking. And I remember there were some guys that were like angry, and they were like they ran out the door like they were gonna chase after him or something, you know. And it was just a wild experience, man. I think they ended up getting away with like 10 to 15K, but we found out later that it was an inside job. It's crazy.